Okay, so I'm recording. Uh, First things first, I have decided to make a mystery maze project in SFML. I did this because I originally created a console application and I wasn't happy with the look of it. I didn't like that the timer wouldn't count down unless you inputted something to the console. Um, the same as you didn't move without having to press the enter button and actually enter into the console. So I wanted an environment that did everything in real time, and I knew that learning SFML now would not only help me in the future but also be easier. It's easier to learn it later on than to get hit with a project in a year's time or something I want to do in a year's time and not be able to do it. So obviously I've got to include all of the three SFML libraries that need to be used, and I've linked them all in the project settings. I'm using C++17 for this and SML version 2.6.2. So initially in this I obviously set basic game constants, which include a high scores file, max height, max width, and time limits for the levels, basic structures for players, enemies, and Vector 2i comparator, which is something I saw while reading a book about SFML development. It's been linked in the document, and that was needed for a later part of this code to run. Then we have the game state, which is required to save the data for saving the game and loading the game if you want to leave in the middle of the game. I've implemented some classes, so I've got a default class, pink, musical, and a forest class, and that's what these all correlate to. And then these are assigning the colors to the themes here. So obviously I made it so that everything stands out and you can still see everything involved. The next I used a DFS depth first search algorithm to create a random maze, and it's doing this by carving a path randomly from the start to the exit, and a little thing here just ensuring there is actually a path to the exit. I then had to draw the maze onto my SFML window, same as drawing the exit onto the window to give it a graphical feel. The next thing is player inputs. This is quite easy to do in SFML, and it's basically just taking when you enter W, it moves your player up by one space. Similar for the enemies, they've got a they spawn randomly. They move towards player if possible, just using some basic vector logic and positioning there. So this is generating the unique positions to make sure that enemies do not spawn on top of each other. I had an issue in which enemies were spawning on top of each other, so when you would get hit, instead of taking 1 health, it would take the amount of enemies that were on top of each other, so 5 health, and then you die instantly, which is not what you want to happen. Basic functions to have health collectibles, keys, and then just drawing them onto the window again. Saving the high score at the end is just saving the score that you've been given after you've completed it to a file so that it can then be read from the load high scores, which keeps the top 5 scores and sorts in descending order. That's just loaded from a file using the font Arial, which I also had to import to get a font. Then we have the display menu, which is the first thing you see when you load up the game, with your options, your theme menu for if you want to pick a different theme. You can again selecting the theme so that it applies. We have a pause menu so that you can pause it in the game, We have a HUD. This is to get the player's name when they score, to put their score into the file at the end so you can view names. This is the end screen that rotates you back so you can play again afterwards if you choose to. And this is the save and load game states to ensure that you can save and then reload the game back in afterwards. This one was quite difficult because you had to make sure that you had the structures of the game right to be able to save them and then load them back in. And this is then obviously the main function which runs everything. So it starts by running the display menu, views the high scores, and then once you click play, it loads the game loop. It will generate everything, place everything, and set up everything. It will start your countdown because there's only 30 seconds per level. You have obviously you call your move enemies function and your collisions when you collide with an enemy. If your health reaches 0, then you die. And you have your HUD and your enemies, and that's that. So let's get into the gameplay. We run this. This is the initial screen. It doesn't look very nice, but it doesn't need to. So you can press number 4 to go into your themes. These are your 4 themes. It tells you the colours so that you can kind of pick. So I'm going to press option 3 for musical, and I've already got a game on here just so I can show you that the load game function works. So if I press 3, we can load the game, and here we are in. So there's a bit of an overlap here, so you can't really see the HUD in the top right. But the basic concept is that green is health. When you hit an enemy, the enemy respawns somewhere else, and you can see the health has gone down to 2 there. On this one, the key is red. It's the same color as the exit. So we need to work our way up to the key, like so, collecting some health. So as we collect it, the health goes up to 3. We've now collected the key. It does say that in the top left, but we can't see it because it's black on this one. That's a design error. You die, you can enter your name, and it will show you the current high scores. You can view the high scores again, or you can go back to play again. So if we select a different theme now, let's go for the forest theme, and we start a game. This one works quite nicely. Everything is all set in the top right, and as you can see in the top left, we also have our pause option, so you can press P at any point to pause the game. You can either save and quit, which will then take you out of the game. So if we do that now, we save and quit, we close the command prompt, and then if we run this again and load our game, obviously we haven't picked our theme, so it's transferred us into the default theme for this one, but you can see it's loaded our game. Now, you can see in the top left that the score increases when you collect a key. So there we go, the score is increased by 200. When you defeat an enemy, the score increases, and when you collect health collectibles, your score also increases. So that's the basics of it. And as I say, we've got these themes with everything going on. Let's take a look at the pink theme. Again, everything is pink here. So the darker pink orb on the right of the screen currently, that is our key. And at any point, we can pause, we can quit, we can resume the game again, and we just get the key and go to the exit. Let's just play again. I will need to reload this quickly because if we just go on a default run, so we go down, go across, and then collect a key, we move to the next level, and it's increased difficulty because then now we have 2 enemies that are trying to get to you. I mean the enemy AI is not very smart, but then the 3rd level you have 3 enemies. So as you come across, you can grab the key, destroy your enemy, continue on, and then make your way to the exit, like so. I mean, it's quite self-explanatory in that sense, and it's actually quite enjoyable to play because everything moves in real time. I only have 1 health here because I didn't pick up a health before I finished the last level and it's carried over, so I am now unfortunately going to die. But we can then save the score and quit the game. Thank you for watching. That's my maze game. That's my code. And I do have code snippets and documentation linked in the above folder. And I'm just hoping that the executable works without the SFML requirements for this. If not, I have attached them as well to the submission. Thank you very much.